Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are. This is Dublin in Darkness, the vampire venue where we find ourselves this illustrious night, simply on our way to pick up someone. It is a long stretched limo owed by the Rothschild family to go and pick up a lady of the clan of the Rose. We're picking up Monique Courbet, where we are in the middle of an appointment that she had with the keeper to come and visit this place and see the piano he had talked about to her in a previous scene. So, as the stretched limo stops, um, Alexander is trying to make sense of his phone, trying to understand how he should contact her. After a while of excruciating annoyance, his driver opens his door or his the screen in between him and Alexander and hands him a phone that is already dialing Monique's number. And then, as the phone continues, um, he can hear a click, and then he simply says, "Hello, this
Um,
is Alexander."
Good evening. How
Right.
may I help you?
Well, I'm here right outside your house, ready to pick you up.
Oh, that was fast. I'll be right over.
Right.
He will hang up the phone, and after a couple of minutes, she will come down. And she's wearing pretty plain for her usual clothes, but not as plain as earlier in the night. She's wearing pretty much business attire, like a Chanel suit.
As she comes down, Alexander is standing outside the car, and as you approach, you can see him nod his head very slightly, approving of your attire. He says a few quick words in German, which you would understand, as he said, "Make way to our next location." And then the driver gets into the seat. He opens the door so Monique could step into the limousine.
All right, we will go in.
As she steps in, it is less flamboyant as it could be. It's quite simple, actually. She can see um, his his briefcase that he normally has with him standing inside the car, as well as a bottle of what seems to be wine or champagne or the likes in glasses. They're all stored. They're not open or on display or anything. It's just a possibility that that could happen. And then Alexander gets into the car on the other side, and he taps his umbrella because he's in Ireland. He carries an umbrella um, on the window of the split screen of the limousine, and the limousine starts driving. And then he simply says, "Well, um, I'm happy you could be of assistance so very, very quickly."
But as well. So where do we go next? You
Right.
mentioned.
Yes. The next location is a building I am looking to see if I can acquire because it's very close to our new Elysium, and I might need it for other purposes, maybe storage or something.
Yes, that seems like a good idea. Certainly.
As the driver drives on, he drives away into the city, as the museum has a reasonable prime location, and as it stops, uh, her door is opened within a minute, and Alexander himself steps out on his own this time. while your door is being opened by the previous scene driver. And who else is at the location at this moment?
As they pull up, there is already another limo having pulled up in front of them, with Katja von Essen and her associate, Ambrose, stepping out. Katja is, as always, dressed to impress, with, of course, a pair of her favorite Louboutins donned on her feet.
Unexpected company for Alexander, at least somewhat annoying, since they'll probably make a bid on the house themselves. However, trying not to show his annoyance to the fact that there's someone here trying to bid on the same house, he politely nods towards his teacher and the primogen of Clan Tremere. And then he walks over towards the what seems to be either a human solicitor of some sort, trying to see if there are people wanting to bid on the house. So as he approaches, the solicitor looks around and tries to see who's willing to bid. Alexander makes himself noticed as being one of the bidders, and as well as all the other people have done. And they're almost ready to take a tour of the house. This is the best way when you come in, Pushki.
Yep. And this is when they hear a taxi pull up right between the front of the back limo and the back of the front limo as Sebastian steps out, wearing a fairly common long jacket, a pair of jeans, and a white buttoned up shirt with the top two buttons undone. I don't know if I could link the picture somewhere for you guys to get the reference.
Yeah, side chat.
Yes, that would help.
Yeah, you just toss it inside the chat.
You can see, sorry, you can see several faces looking at you with some annoyance. One, you're late, and two, another bitter in their eyes. The solicitor, however, welcomes you, being open and welcoming to everyone who wants to bid and make him some money. And
Of
yeah.
course, this is where Sebastian also pulls out an envelope to hand to the solicitor, containing a summons from said man as part of his inheritance in this place.
The solicitor frowns when you give him the envelope. He didn't expect it. He does, however, keeps professional and opens the envelope and reads the contents and looks at the group that was going to make him a lot of money, and then look at you in your leisure wear. And then he turns to the rest of the people that were also there to bid. Ladies and gentlemen, I am very sorry to announce that this gentleman claims his house as an inheritance. Therefore, it's no longer up for any bidding, and the deed will be signed over within a fortnight.
Unfortunate, but oh well.
I do apologize my lateness in arriving, as I have been traveling quite a distance to get here.
Unfortunate for some.
Alexander,
Fortunate
trying.
for others. As you look to the newcomer.
Alexander uses his aspects to see if the solicitor is in on the fact that it might be a very late arrival, seeing if there's a scheme in place, not trusting the late arrival. It's in his eyes, yet too convenient. He wants to see if there's another game at play, or if this is just dumb luck.
Yeah, Katya's going to read some auras as well. Nada. Nope.
Well, what the hell?
No
Let's roll
do.
2. I'm gonna roll 2. Where the...
Her empathy is shit.
I have one success.
Okay,
You
let
can
me
tell
see.
if they are a vampire or not, and that is it.
All right. Well, I think everyone in this hangout, except for the solicitor, is definitely not just pretty and human looking.
Okay, I got 4
What?
successes.
4 success. Okay, hang on. Let
So,
me. Colors.
yeah. I'm
Hang
gonna
on.
see all the colors of the rainbow.
Let me. 4 successes. You can detect subtle shifts in color. So, how's everybody feeling?
Oh, it's simple. He's all business, but I have to get the color right. You have the color table. I know last time we had the color table.
Yeah, I can.
Yes,
give
I have the
me a
color table.
second.
Go ahead and give me. So probably conservative.
Yep.
So some lavender.
Mhm.
I'm guessing a little distrustful, so light green.
Yep.
Hmm.
Also, don't forget that he is there on business, so he's very stoic. The word.
That doesn't actually have a color.
Um,
I think conservative would actually fit for that.
yeah, conservative might be as well.
Yeah, conservative would fit for that. Probably a little angry.
No, he's not angry.
Okay.
I can't
Suspicious.
easily get angry.
So
Yeah,
suspicious,
suspicious.
maybe.
Suspicious is definitely one of them. Yeah.
So dark blue.
For Ambroise, there's I'm looking at it. So there'd be light blue. There'd be lavender for conservative, and then I don't know. It's not really angry. And more annoyed. So I'm not sure which
Also,
I should
keep in
take for that.
mind there would also be little pinpricks of green.
Yes,
Mostly anytime he looks at Katya.
pretty much.
What was pinpricks of green? Because he looks at Katya.
Oh yes.
Green is obsessed. He's
Oh Jesus.
he's 1 point bloodbound to her.
Oh boy, dear Ambrose. Yeah. No. Okay. Makes total sense.
But she's not walking around as a guy with
No,
like
you're
bird.
not. You're not a silly puppy yet. Anyway.
But yes. And what would he be? What would you say would be annoyed?
Annoyed. Hang on. Give me just a second.
Light green.
Could be light green, I guess.
Hang on. Let me get the chart up again.
Because I
For
don't
what
see
was
annoyed.
it? Annoyed?
Yeah, I don't see annoyed on there.
It might just be little bits of red.
Yeah.
So he's not like fully angry, just annoyed. Also, anyone who has seen colors will see black veins in Sebastian's aura.
They will.
Oh.
If you have the diablerized flaw, which could be a thing,
Oh, I didn't
then
know it was supposed to go on as a flaw.
no, which is
Keep
fine.
in mind, Alexander will not see this because
No, no.
he can only tell if he's a vampire. Or
I
not.
know. What I was trying to say
Yeah, but
is,
I will see this though.
if this is a thing, then people will also not feel completely happy around you.
Okay.
Yeah, like this is pretty big.
Even if they don't see it. So even if they don't see it, they get a you have a strange vibe.
Yeah, he will
Oh, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
but I can clearly see it.
Oh,
Yeah,
you can
you
see
can
it. You can even out him. You can even be angry. You can even demand
You
shit.
could out him if you want.
You could out him. Yep.
Well, not at the moment.
Well, now
because
you're
you
being
know
smart
you
then.
are in the presence of not only the keeper of the Elysium, but also the primogen of Clan Tremere,
Yep.
Which could be
who
quite dangerous.
absolutely failed her Auspex roll.
Let's put it like this: you'll be off put with him anyway because he's not showing any kind of emotion.
Because she has absolute garbage empathy.
So that's your derangement.
Desensitized. Yes, I have that one too. But I read desensitized not as having an emotion, just meaning that it's very hard to impress or get any
Oh,
serious emotion out of it.
for this is just that he believes that emotions get in the way of things, so he's
They
pretty
do.
much shut himself off from them.
All right. Well, it's a way of living. Anyway, let's continue before we get into a philosophical discussion.
Yes, indeed.
So, uh, yeah, you can definitely see that a Rothschild is annoyed, um, but he's trying to keep a good composure towards the rest. And then he kind of says, "Well, I'm familiar with everyone here, but I have not seen you here before, sir." And he clearly looks at Pushki.
That would probably be because I only arrived tonight in Ireland, or as this is Dublin to be precise.
Indeed. Have you had a chance to talk with either the prince, the seneschal, or any representative court yet?
I would assume not. I've never seen him before.
Considering this is my first night here, then no. I came straight here to sort this
Any
mess out.
premature communication you had with either of them to announce your arrival could be something that could help in determining your legitimacy here.
Oh, I only came after I received this letter of heritage. I've not had much time to plan.
That's understandable. I I have to ask. Sorry, my name is Rothschild, Alexander Rothschild. I am the current keeper of the Elysium here,
Should we
which
not
is a
discuss this
strange.
in front of other people? She kind of
Right,
looks over at the solicitor.
right.
This would best be discussed in private, would it not?
Right. It would. Alexander smiles wryly, almost poisonous. Not to you, but in general. And walks over to the limousine, or at least away from the general group, and is signaling or Sebastian to come with him, and whoever wants to, of course.
Katya would send her limo on and join them.
Sebastian's going to join them, although one hand behind his back somewhat twitching.
Well, I'm with Mr. R here, so I'm following wherever.
As you both step away from the general area, especially, I'm sorry, totally forgot. Pesky, pesky, pesky people. Anyway, so yes, as I say, my name is Rothschild. I am a member of the court, so to speak, and I was wondering which of our most beautiful families and clans do you represent?
To the furthest of my notice, I'm a Malkavian.
Oh, you two share blood then.
He blinks for a few moments, not really getting it.
Our dear Mr. Rothschild here is also a member of the Broken Mirror. If I am correct in my guessing.
Of course you are. Right. I thought I was one of the few members here of the Mirror. Well, that changes things. I will see if I can get you a introduction with our Primogen at a short notice then.
That would be appreciated.
So far, I do advise you to keep inside, not to offend others, since you're not yet known with who is where and who holds what domain. Of course, you can always see if I can help and make sure that you can travel through certain areas. If you want to get to things, I'll make sure that you get a car and a driver.
Oh, I don't do that stuff. I prefer to walk.
Walking, yes. The problem with walking is that you'll probably have to go through areas where people rather not have you stop. You know, some people can be very pesky when it comes to feeding.
I don't exactly look to feed in the open, so I don't believe that should be a problem.
Well, I understand the way you say it. However, people don't know this yet. They have to get to know you. And that can only happen after you had a proper introduction, don't you think?
Of course, introduction should be in order.
We'll see if I can set something up for you shortly. But then again, I am not the most well connected person here.
That would be fine anyway. I need a bit of time to set my new place in order.
Right. I will I will need to have your full name just for a proper so we know who we're talking to. Sebastian, was it?
Sebastian Yort.
Yort.
I'll spell it.
Wonderful name. I'll make sure I mention this name to the senator. Oh wait, no, the prince. Then
I think between the two of us, we have enough pull within the council to get a introduction fairly soon.
but of course, Madame von Essen, it will be fine. Well then, for now, I wish you a pleasant stay in Dublin. Watch out. We are currently in a very tense situation, but I'm sure you'll find that out sooner than later.
Yeah, it's arrived at a interesting time.
This will make your introduction maybe a little bit more hostile than most have had.
I dare say that's not true. But
I will have to agree with
after
the
all,
Primogen.
Monique and I's introduction was interrupted by the Red Lister. So, yours as well, Ambrose, was it not?
Yes, I came
Oh,
the same night.
it was
I thought
actually
so.
right after Ambroise was introduced.
Yes.
Not going into what he was saying later because obviously it was misunderstood. Um, Alexander simply nods to Sebastian and say, "Well, I hope you do enjoy the house. I might have a talk with you later once you're more settled in court. I do have my number for you."
His number. Oh, okay, sorry, my bad. I didn't say anything.
And he gives Sebastian a simple card with a name and a number.
Yep. Sebastian accepts it, looks it over briefly, then slips it into his pocket. Then perhaps we shall talk another time.
I think that's best. I do have to have another appointment as of now.
I believe so. If you seem to have company already, I don't believe they decided to come see you just to look at my house.
Well, in all honesty, we're here to buy your house. Would you still consider getting rid of it?
Oh, no, no. I left my ancestral country just to come here.
I was afraid you'd say that. Well, if you change your mind, you can also use that number. Um, yes. Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen. And he replies in perfect German.
His German is with an accent, an Irish accent.
Sebastian, may I ask where you came from before coming here?
Before coming here, I arrived from Denmark.
My, you certainly traveled a long way.
It could have been longer, but I decided it was better to move at a certain pace once I had my former affairs settled.
Well, welcome to Dublin.
Thank you.
I suppose I should introduce myself. Where are my manners? Katja van Essen, Primogen of Clan Tremere.
My pleasure to meet you. He doesn't seem to show much emotion when he looks around at the group gathered there.
And I am Monique of Clan Toreador. No further titles.
I am Ambroise Louveau, and he'll smirk to himself. If you look around, there should be a clue to which clan I am from. And he'll look at specifically the mirror that's there at every car. And if you look, you don't see him in the mirror.
Yeah, he just puts it off without mentioning it. As in, he acknowledges where Ambrose is from, but he doesn't need to speak it, or feel the need to speak it. My pleasure to meet the lot of you.
It's Sketcher.
Wow, I think the only person in here who can see him coming is Bishop.
And he's not actually
Here.
taking part of the scene. He's just watching.
He's just
Yeah.
lurking.
Bishop, stop being creepy.
He's a lurker. Creep.
It's a Sketcher.
It's a Sketcher
if you want.
Hello, Sketcher.
Yay, Francis.
Boo, Francis.
Welcome, awkward time.
Okay, where are you guys actually physically? Because there's a reason Sketcher is here.
We're in
We
the
are
car.
here in. Yeah, right.
Are we not in the car?
No, we're not. Technically,
Not
we're
yet,
close to the car.
We're standing outside the car currently.
We're standing outside
Oh,
Alexander.
I thought we were in the car too.
No, we're standing out. I never said that I would step into the
Well-
car. Otherwise, it would be very, very busy inside the car.
Oh, so Sebastian would not be inside the car.
Not yet. Do you want to be in the car?
No.
Good
You
one.
want to be in the trunk of the car, maybe?
Oh. Well, technically, it could fit 6 people in the back, but you know,
In the trunk? That's a
In
big
the-
trunk.
in the trunk, that's only 3 people. We tested. Anyway, so. So yeah, that's where we are.
Where's
We're
the car?
Oh, sorry, and the car is at a family house or a row of family houses very close to the newly to built Elysium.
Okay. So Francis, do you actually want to come in?
God, no.
Yes, please. I like awkward times.
That's fine.
Come on.
No,
Well, hang on. I can't actually hear him. What did you say, Bishop?
Nah, I'm just gonna sit here.
Okay.
Aw.
In that case, you guys will basically, as you walk to the house.
And I've met
Hmm?
Sketcher, by the way, in case you wondered.
Yeah. No,
I
hang on.
have.
Quick question. Actually, one of you might. Does anyone here have Auspex 5?
Nope.
Nope.
I have to look that up. I forgot.
So close, I have Auspex 0.
I was gonna say, Rothschild might
Left two.
actually. I can't remember how much he has.
No, I don't have 5.
In that case, as you are you walking physically towards the house?
Nope.
We're standing a bit away from it.
We're standing at the car, talking.
All right.
We
We're
we were
In that case-
avoiding a certain person disclosing everything to the human solicitor.
Oh dear.
Yeah, Rothschild kind of started talking, kindred stuff in front of a human solicitor, and Katya's like, we should no.
We'll visit the solicitor later. Anyway,
From directly behind Rothschild, as you guys are having this conversation, there's a very polite cough. Like
Jesus.
it's literally Sketcher here directly behind him. None of you saw him coming.
Jesus Christ.
At which point, Katya just kind of walks over and gives him a hug.
Oh. He kind of does that wonderful thing of, I don't know if I meant to hug back, kind of arm flail.
You are allowed to hug me back here. It's fine.
Oh, you must be Sketcher.
Yes.
I really wanted to meet you.
And
Money.
yes. My okay. One thing at a time. Hello. Hello, Regent Von Essen. It is very nice to see you. Yes. He reaches into. He has a pack on his hip that basically hangs on his hip. He pops it open, and he rifles around in the inside it, and he withdraws a letter, and he holds it out towards Rothschild. He says, "My sire sent this for you to read."
well, thank you.
You're very welcome. I'm to get an answer from you before I return, so please take your time and read it.
All right. Then he will simply look at the rest of the people and say, if you'll please excuse me. And he'll simply step into his car.
Okay.
And there he will open it.
What you are reading as you open the paperwork is basically Hennessy has sent you a list of, as the new Elysium is being built, because it's in the planning and building stages at the moment. You've been requesting. I read the report. You've been requesting a number of items and pieces of objet d'art that would be very, very difficult to get on the ordinary civilian market. And
Yes.
basically, this is Hennessy saying, "I will acquire these for you. Don't fuck it up." Basically, he is going to use his influences to acquire certain very hard to get items for you.
All right. Rothschild, after reading this, trying to look for the proper way to answer this letter, which technically is a veiled pressure threat, so to speak. It's don't fuck it up really means don't fuck this shit up. Like he's already under pressure, although he's made some 2 good rolls today. hint hint. So yeah, he reads the letter, reads it again, and then in a very quick way, then folds the letter back, puts it in the inside of his jacket, and then gets out of the car.
Okay. Whilst you're in the car, Sketcher will turn to. Sorry, people were talking to him, but obviously he. It's kind of like he is a very, very socially awkward person, so a lot of people talking to him at once kind of socially bombards him. But he will hold out his hand to the new person whom he hasn't met, and he'll say, "Hello, I'm sketching. It's very nice to meet you.
He will be uncomfortable doing that.
What do you
As
mean? As in you won't want to shake his hand?
no. Everyone else here knows it. Sebastian diablerized his sire.
Yeah, but only I can see it, so
Only one person here is aware of it. As in fully aware of it.
Okay.
The others are just uncomfortable.
I fucked up my aspect. I'm sorry.
I
Also
didn't.
fucked up my aspects.
I didn't.
Okay. But it doesn't. He's still holding out his hand to basically try and shake yours.
Sebastian's going to accept it and return it by saying, "It is a pleasure to meet you. My name is Sebastian."
Oh, it's nice to meet you. People call me Sketcher.
Nice to meet you,
Of
Sketcher.
Clan Nosferatu.
He's the childer of our seneschal.
A very
I see.
talented person.
Yes, he is. Which we need to speak sometime, Sketcher. I have a business proposal.
Oh, okay.
And I would like to speak with you as well when you have a moment.
My you're Monique, right?
Yes.
My sire says that I'm not allowed to talk to you.
All right, then you can speak with Dr. Green.
Okay, that I can do.
As,
For the
as
record,
as Sebastian is pulling his hand back from the shake, anyone who wants to notice it can notice that it's twitching slightly.
I was going to say, for the record, when Sketcher shakes your hand, it's very obvious that there's a lot of potence there in his grip, but he's not applying it to your hand. So basically, yeah, you can tell like there's a lot of strength there, but he's obviously not crushing your hand.
He has a
Because-
firm grip.
But yeah, I'm sorry, but he was very disenfranchised with the concept that you would place the concept that you would not place any value whatsoever in your own sire's affection, to quote my father directly.
I didn't say I misunderstand him. I know the reason.
Oh, okay.
The reason I wanted to speak to you was about a project I was talking with Dr. Brightman, for which I will not take any credit.
Oh, you're the person who's going to do the thing for the zoo.
Yes, I'm still going to work on it, but I'm not going to take any credit for it. You can speak with Dr. Green about that. I will make sure that her name is on everything.
Why?
I think it's obvious why.
No, it's really not.
She's trying to make recompense, dear.
But just because she doesn't sign her name to something doesn't mean it's any less hers.
That you are correct.
It's up to you. Ultimately, Dr. Bright or Primogen, I should call him Primogen Brightman, just wants to do a function to raise awareness about the animals. He's very good with animals. I like animals. But
That he is, yes.
the zoo's his domain. It's nice. I like talking to tigers and lions and bears. Oh my. But yeah, at this point, you can be finished reading your reading Hennessy's letter, Alexander. If you want to step out of the car.
Yep, Alexander will get out of the car again.
Oh, and
Do you?
Sketcher, you must thank your sire for last night's actions. He took care of me.
Mhm. That's his job. He takes care of us. Oh, Keeper Rothschild, do you have an answer to my father's letter?
Yes, the answer will. The answer is simple. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it, and I won't.
Okay. I will hang on. One second. Let me see. Do I? One second. I have a pen here somewhere. He reaches
Rothschild
his
actually
little bag.
gets Rothschild actually gets a HB pencil right out of its pocket and a small white thing that you can write on, and he hands it over to Sketcher.
Oh, thank you very much. Okay. He basically just pens exactly what you said. He takes a piece of paper, folds it, and puts it into his coat, or sorry, into his little messenger satchel. Before he'll hand you back the pencil, and he'll say, "Good. I'm very pleased that the designs for the Elysium are coming along so well. I've been very, very, um, how would I phrase it? Enthused by your work."
Well, Sketcher, like we've talked before, I do believe that in one particular room that I have in mind, I would like a very prominent place for one of your artworks.
Oh, I'd be happy to. I go by a number of pseudonyms, so I'm actually several artists, but that's neither here nor there.
It's fine.
But yeah,
I want this one
uh,
to be known under the artist that everyone can appreciate, and that will be yourself.
oh, that's nice. I'm okay. But I hope that you all, in those of you who were at the party, I hope you all enjoyed your sketches.
Still to this day, thank you very much.
Yes, it sits in a very special place in my room.
Good. I'm very, very pleased to hear it. It was I was under the impression that the after I met Mr. Doctor, that's his title. After I met Doctor De Gaulle, I was under the impression that the Malkavians didn't like me.
My apologies. The doctor that you have spoken was not a representative of us all.
Hmm. Yeah, my father said as much when he had emphatic words with Primogen Wordsworth as to the matter of lineage and respect, whatever that means.
I think it's wise for the both of us to stay as far away from discussions like that as possible if we can still avoid them.
Mhm. Okay. Well, you have given your response, and I've given you your letter. I'm gonna go.
You're,
Um, new person.
Yes.
You have to present yourself to either my father or the prince within the next 7 nights in order to be welcomed within the domain.
I'm aware, thank you. I have
We
been
were actually,
well informed.
yes, we had spoken of that just a little bit before you arrived.
Actually, you know what? This could be really funny. Sketcher's gonna roll his specs.
Oh God.
oh boy.
Oh.
It's perception empathy, isn't it? Yes. Difficulty
Yes.
Yeah.
is 8
Yeah,
minus your
and
auspex.
that's why Katya's roll is such shit, because she's got terrible empathy.
Empathy, what's that again?
Right, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes.
Jesus, all
Okay.
the fucking colors.
Sketcher kind of quirks his head to the side as he looks you guys over. For the record, he uses this almost like a social prompt tool. I mean,
Mhm.
Bishop, if you want to show up right now, you can.
This
'Cause
this would
some
be fucking hilarious timing.
Boom. The sheriff is wherever he needs to be.
Oh God.
You're sitting on the toilet again? Wait, what?
if it helps, what do you call it? Sketcher also has dispatches for you. But no. You see, hang on, Monique. Hi, Monique. How's it going? You're the one who was Aura side up, aren't you?
Yep.
Sketcher goes from being kind of cheerful and awkward and a little bit kind of socially blind to utterly terrified as he starts to back away.
I will.
Can I make an
I will
observation
make
check for this?
a
Hang on.
gesture to him. Like I will put my finger up to my mouth and try to calm him down with gestures, pretty much as quietly as possible. Because I don't know how to handle it by myself. I will have to discuss it with someone.
I was going to say, if you guys want to make a perception empathy checks on Sketcher, you can feel free to
Yep.
do so.
Oh, hell yes.
Where are we right
Because
now?
that was very from a man who just 2 seconds ago said that he happily talks to lions, bears, and tigers. Backing away from something is peculiar, to say the least.
I like to talk to bears, but this guy scares me.
Where are we right now?
The perception was what again?
Hang on, you are just outside of. Basically, you are not far from the current. What they're doing, they're building a new Elysium, which is going to be the new Museum of Modern Art.
Oh, cool.
So you are not far away from that.
Fucking shoot me.
Shoot me
Okay.
more.
I have a shotgun.
Seriously, I can't do the perception and empathy rolls tonight. It's just not working out in my favor.
What is the perception empathy rolls again?
It is
Uh,
perception thing. As the
just-
dice pool.
Whatever you add your perception and your empathy together, that's your dice pool. And the difficulty is 8 minus your Auspex level.
All right.
So let me
I-
just see where my empathy levels are.
I do not have empathy.
Perception will be in your attributes, and empathy will be in where'd it go? Under talents.
All right. I got 2 successes now.
He is not making any. He is not making any attempt to hide it because that would require guile. I will tell you right now, Sketcher has a manipulation subterfuge of 1.
Aww.
Oh.
So Sketcher's actually really pretty. And
he is, for those of you who succeed on the roll, even with 1 success, his demeanor goes from, as I say, reserved and awkward yet cheerful to absolutely terrified.
yeah, with 2 successes, can I see where where he's terrified from? What he's terrified of?
He blinks his eyes, kind of like blink, blink, and he looks towards the new person, and then just terror strikes him.
Okay, can I have a re-roll on Sebastian?
Yeah, there's nothing to stop you.
All right.
While this is happening,
This is much better. 4 successes. Oh, sorry, 3 successes.
Okay. Hang on. Bishop, continue with what you're saying.
yeah, basically,
I
as
have one
we're else. Okay, guys. Free order. So we're outside, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So as this happens, a recognizable vehicle begins to pull up next to the keepers.
No,
Probably
God.
just behind it.
Lombos looks at the Sketcher. He doesn't have empathy, but he has intimidation 4. He's like, people have looked at me like that before.
You guys will notice Sketcher's hand falls to a small, kind of, it almost looks like a square panel on his belt, and he presses a button.
No shit.
Rothschild is literally gripping his umbrella more stronger in a fighting stance, unbeknown to Katya and Ambrose, who've seen him fighting. This looks like a fighting stance that is something more trained than they've seen him do for now.
Perplexing question, Bishop. Does your car stop?
Yes.
Do you make it evident that you are the individual in the car?
Yeah, he's just gonna get out.
Well,
Sketcher.
no.
I'm gonna describe this in the best way that I can. Sketcher he walks in a very kind of an odd gait because clearly there's something wrong with his left leg, so he always walks with a very pronounced limp.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to see in the outfit because obviously the outfit is designed to cover the fact from an out of cap from a viewing him perspective that there's something wrong with his leg. But there's definitely like something wrong because he walks with a very pronounced limp. Bishop, he doesn't just bear in mind you're in a public space. He potence jumps to the other side of your car and kind of crouches down really, really low and is shivering.
I
Yeah,
wanna
Francis
hug you.
looks at this in shock and just goes, "What the hell are you doing, Sketcher?"
He starts to kind of babble on nonsensically.
All boys will walk to the car.
Yes, this is sheriff clearly visible to others.
Yes, he's gotten out of the car. He's approaching Sketcher.
Then, all right. Then Alexander will say, "Lord Francis, could you do me the honor of using your cute sight at this individual?" And he clearly points his umbrella at Sebastian.
And Monique nods on the side.
Who is this person? He looks
A
at the
newcomer.
stranger.
This is a new arrival into the city. The name is Sebastian Hoyt.
Yord.
Correct.
Yort, who is displaying some very, very known and strange aura veins.
I see clan age and generation.
Just a second. Clan is Malkavian. Generation is 9th.
Does Sebastian say that?
Oh, if that's what he sees, then
He asks, like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Francis literally says that, like, clan
oh,
age generation.
the only thing Sebastian will be able to tell of that is that he's Malkavian. He's not aware of his generation.
And his age?
He does not remember when he was born. Only that it is somewhere in the 20th century.
All right. Before he does, actually, nah, this is enough because he's a Markavian. So Francis might suspect it's either something. It's one of two things. Like Francis notices either one of two things, for three things. Either Sketch is having a nervous breakdown of his own accord, the Markavian caused it, or
You can see that Monique is terrified too and trying to,
well, I get
Right.
3 successes.
Alexander is not terrified. He's actually not shocked at all. He's still very suspicious, though.
With the 3 successes, you will see those delicious diablerie lines.
And Katya's going to make her way over to Sketcher to try and comfort him.
Francis is going to open the boot of his car. First of all, camera check.
You're in a residential area. Admittedly, it's a very upmarket residential area, so you don't think that there's any kind of real security cameras. People with phones might be a thing, but then again, it's also quite late and there aren't really lights on anywhere. So you think you're okay as long as you don't start shooting.
We have the solicitor as well.
That's the only human around.
Yep.
At this point.
well, Katya can dominate him or something. Or might
Yeah, but the Katya is currently
Exactly.
at Sketcher. So
Yes,
yeah, but you're
but,
at Sketcher.
She can mind fuck him afterwards. So
All right.
Or we can distract him.
Yeah, actually, Rothschild will do that, and he will keep an eye on Sebastian, and he will walk over to the solicitor and actually take the solicitor around the corner to talk shop about other buildings the solicitor might have on his block in the coming time. Being very precise on prices and bullshit. That takes
From
time.
the solicitor's, I will put out from the solicitor's perspective, he wasn't exactly looking at Sketcher. From his perspective, it could have just looked like Sketcher just vaulted over the car, which is entirely, like putting his hand on the car to jump over, as opposed to what he did, which was free jump over the car.
Yeah, but he's still going to distract the
Oh yeah,
solicitor long enough.
that's fine. So continue on, guys. Continue on.
Yeah, Francis kind of gets something out of the boot of his car. Catcher and Sketcher are actually on the side where the boot is because they Sketcher vaulted over it and Catcher followed, so they can see that he's that boot is full of weapons. It's full of illegal firearms and weapons.
At which point, Kachi's eyes just kind of widen a little bit.
What, you haven't seen it before?
It also has there's also Kevlar and no shortage of various calibers of ammunition.
Any melee weapons?
Oh yes, there are several combat knives and 2 swords.
And probably a bunch of steaks.
Yes, there's probably at least 3 stakes. Yeah. No, he just takes one out. Takes one out, takes out a knife, puts the knife in his, places the knife in his jacket, but keeps the stake held in his right hand. Closes the boot of the vehicle, walks up to Sebastian, and he simply says, "You will submit yourself to staking me brought before the Prince for judgment."
And just in case Alexander plans anything, he otherwise will take a sword and start making his way behind Alexander.
Wait, you openly carry a sword?
No, he took a sword from the boot.
Yeah, he took it from the boot of the car.
Oh no, nobody's taking anything
Exactly.
from the boot of my car, not to say so.
Watch out.
Do not assume, good sir.
You don't need the sword, you can just hold him.
You have.
I mean, I will also.
You don't have to care.
A great method for the record, guys. If you want to do the whole, I have a sword in the modern knights, is have a sword cane. It's pretty great.
Or
Yeah.
maybe an
True.
umbrella. Or maybe an umbrella. Wait, who had an umbrella? Oh, me.
With the solicitor now.
I mean, to be fair though, that just proves that Alexander is just pimping on every level. Continue.
Pretty much. Anyway, yeah, that's what Francis says to Sebastian.
And without a sword, Omwaz is behind makes his way behind Alexander. And puts his hand on his shoulder, showing his strength.
Sebastian is going to look for a fact. He's actually going to look confused for a brief second before he seems to remember something that he has otherwise forgotten. Before he goes, you don't actually need to use that sort of thing. I was supposed to be sorting out my business here and wait on a summon.
Allow me to repeat myself. You'll submit to the staking and be presented before the Prince for judgment. You have this one last chance to willingly comply.
I will follow, but you will not put that thing inside me. Do not worry, I do not carry weapons. Nor do I intend to fight you if you wish to take me somewhere else, even if I do not agree with it.
And Katya is still, kind of knelt down next to the car, trying desperately to calm Sketcher.
Okay, so Francis is going to stake him at this point.
Makes sense.
So you're going to stake the guy who says, "I'm going to go with you, even if it's against my will."
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well,
Yep.
yes.
He's a
Yeah.
sheriff. He outranks you. He can do that.
Yep.
Also-
welcome to the world of darkness.
I was going
Vampires
to
are
say,
dicks.
Evan is going to step in. Evan is going to step in here for a moment because it's important. I put on my GM hat for a second. I've already been GMing, but basically, what your character has no way of knowing this. Basically, the prince has instituted at the very beginning of his tenure as prince, so months ago, a law that says I will not stand diabolarists in my realm.
Ah.
So they are just reacting to a very old rule.
Yeah, they're basically just reacting to a law that your character doesn't know about.
Yeah.
Do not worry. I'm not saying your character will die now. But I'm just like, they are not reacting this way just to be dicks, basically.
I know.
Watch presentation might be a thing later. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Um,
continue.
So just for the sake of narrative, good old our new Malkavian friend. Sorry, what was your character's name again?
Sebastian.
Sebastian, you feel once again, Bishop. You're the only one who can see this. Abdul has emerged from an alleyway, basically grips him in a bear hug, like as in with incredibly large muscular arms. For the record, for those of you who don't know, Sketcher has a panic button.
Yes.
We saw you push
Aw.
it. No, I love it. Perfect.
Clever boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need one.
For the record, if any of you are looking, Abdul is pissed.
Mm-hmm.
Like you fucked with Sketcher. He's the cinnamon bun.
Yeah, he's very.
Yeah, Katya's gonna be
Speed
fucking
roll.
pissed too after she tries to calm him down.
However, I am going to make a bit of a gaffe here, obviously because it's the player's first scene. Whatever else have you, we are not going to stake him. Don't worry.
Fair.
I'm not going to take away your agency in that way. But basically, Abdul is going to be giving you a lovely hug.
That is fine, because basically he's not going to resist them in going where they want to take him.
Sketcher, Katya, do you have any expression?
Give me 1 second. I gotta look at my character sheet again. I'm pretty sure I do though. Yeah, she's got 2 dots of expression.
Do you want to roll me a charisma or manipulation expression roll to calm Sketcher down?
It's literally the same either way. So
Hooray!
Well, I could help you out, but I'm not allowed to speak with him apparently. So
It was going to be
difficulty.
7, but it was going to be difficulty 7 -2 for enchanting voice.
Lovely.
2 successes.
He is by no means calm, but you get him back to the state of functional.
At which point she's just gonna kind of wrap her arms around him and
Francis,
kind of try to comfort him a little.
Abdul holds out a phone to Francis, just like here. He's holding out you. He has a phone held out to you, basically, like a smartphone.
Chris?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I was away from keyboard. I didn't mention it, sorry. But
No worries.
Francis will take the phone.
You hear Hennessy's voice on the side saying, "Explain briefly, because apparently Abdul has reached you before I could. What is wrong with my child?"
Something I'm just figuring out. It appears we have a new guest in the city who bears the stains of diabolary in their aura.
Right. Bring him to Fox Rock, to the prince's, well, where the prince has been holding his soirees recently. We'll get it dealt with tonight.
Excellent, on my way there.
The line goes dead.
Is it okay if Rothschild comes back at this point?
Yep. You will. The solicitor is more than happy to talk shop with you, but he'll say it's getting very late and he wants to go home.
Well, yeah, Rothschild makes sure that he rides home fine.
He'll hail himself a cab or an Uber.
Yep, exactly.
So, everyone is going to pile in a car, kids, as you speed through the Dublin night, because all of you have received a print. All of you are going to be politely asked to attend on the Prince this evening. Yay!
And Kachi will
So-
probably stay right by Sketcher's side and just kind of pet him and continue to try and calm him down.
Piano.
Sketcher basically, yeah. What's going to happen is Abdul. He's not going to hold you the entire way, Sebastian. That would be really weird. He just sits beside you. For the record, as he steps around, this Nosferatu is huge. He must be 6'9" to 7 feet tall and weigh about 400 pounds of pure muscle. He is as pictured as shown. He is hideous looking and intimidating as all hell.
I like him. He looks like my SSR character.
He's also my hound.
But Sebastian's not going to argue with him or resist him in any way.
Cool. What will happen is he will sit you in the back. Basically, 2 more cars are going to pull up. He will basically sit in the back of one of the cars with you as you drive through the night, making sure that Sketcher is in a different car because, you do not hurt the cinnamon bun.
I never intended to hurt him.
I know. I'm just pointing out that when you've got really thick blood and you see Diablerist, you're like, nope.
Yeah.
That's a whole ocean of nope.
Sketcher, if he wants, can sit in the limousine with Rothschild and.
Catch is coming with Sketcher no matter what. She's determined to calm him down.
Well, you can come along. There can be 6 people in the limousine if you want to be there.
Abdul, but actually, he kind of looks around. Actually, he looks in the limousine. Do you have a mini bar in the limousine?
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier.
He will remove a bar of chocolate from it, and he will hand the bar of chocolate to Sketcher, who will kind of nibble on it through the entire ride, and it appears to calm him down.
All right. I'll take a note of that.
On a side note, fun fact, chocolate calms people down when they're in shock. Fun facts.
Yes.
Yeah, it does. It has to do with sugar level.
Yep. This is the shit I learned when I was doing first aiding courses. Haha.
I know this shit because I'm an idiot.
You also work in the health service, to be fair. Alright, so you drive through the evening until you come to a large estate, is the best word I can use it. Fox Rock is one of the 2 very affluent areas of Dublin. Ironically, the other one is called Black Rock, so there's Fox Rock and Black Rock. This is deep inside the Prince's personal domain. Your little cavalcade of cars will pull up outside of the house proper. The doorway opens. It's a very tall door, about 10 feet tall or so, and light spills out into the darkness. At which point you will see this individual step out into the dark.
Hennessy.
His eyes flick down across you as you step out. He's only about, once again, I emphasize this whenever Hennessy comes into it. He's only about 5'3", but he has this very, very intense aura of I am in charge. He walks down and he talks to Sketcher for a few moments in a language that I don't think anyone here can speak.
Which one?
Huh?
Which one?
Can anyone here speak Croatian? I don't think they can.
Nope.
Nope.
The 2 of them exchange words. Anyway, before he will basically point inside and Sketcher will enter. At which point he walks up to a Sebastian and he says, "So, you're the individual who's caused such a ruckus."
It appears that simply arriving is causing more trouble than I imagined.
Well, my apologies, but we are in the middle of a war after all, and it would appear as though you've committed a very interesting sin.
As much as it may be a sin, I don't know if I agree with you on that belief. Perhaps it is not up to all of us to judge until we know exactly why.
And that's why we're here. You're going to go before the prince, and you're going to explain yourself in his domain. At which point he is going to render judgment. He has a very nasty view of Diabolists. But then again, I'm led to understand it's an odd tendency of the Mithratic line to have a slightly quaking hand on the topic. But that's neither here nor there.
Rothschild will step next to Sebastian, and he will say, "My dear Hennessy, he is of my bloodline, and since my primogen Wordsworth is not here, um, I will stand by my clansmate. Although I know that he's done this hideousness, we
It
try
is still
to
to be
protect
it is
ourselves."
still to be commended, Mr. Rothschild, that you will put the values of the blood ahead of the values of the base politique. I can respect that. Very well. Sheriff, bring him inside.
Of course. And Francis
Alright.
will bring Sebastian inside.
Yeah.
This evening there appears to be some kind of gala being thrown. There are a large amount of people here dressed in very, very extravagant suits and dresses, as they are having some kind of social evening. However, if you look at them under Auspex or any kind of site, you'll notice all of them are either kindred or ghouls. There's quite a lot of them here. You would assume, Francis. Actually, you know what? Fuck it, because you would have. Everyone here would have realistically been invited. This is the celebration to mark the first victory in Waterford.
Ah, wonderful.
The prince is throwing this gala. Seated in a high-backed chair at one end of the room, you will see this man, who looks as dour as he ever does. For the record, no one's ever really seen the prince smile. You assume he can, maybe,
I mean, I should
kinda.
hope so.
I mean,
But
no, I
not
don't.
right. But not right now.
He raises his hand to for the music to silence, and he says, "Step forward." My, what a ruckus you've caused. But then again, these nights do get so dull. Perhaps a measure of entertainment is necessary. What's your name, sir?
Who's he speaking to? Who's he speaking to?
You, dear.
You dear.
Well, Sebastian steps forward and introduces himself as Sebastian Yord.
Do you bow?
He offers a polite nod as he's not used to big titles.
Can Rothschild be closer next to him to teach him some manners?
Yes, by all means.
All right. Then, as soon as he nods, Rothschild will lean into him, and he simply whisper, "Kneel now."
He will give a rather.
He will tap your fucking knee with his
Yeah,
with his umbrella.
he's going to do it, but he's going to give a really weird look because he's not. This is not something he's ever done before.
Oh yeah, no, that's entirely valid.
Rothschild understands, and Rothschild himself will take a deep bow as well as soon as you knew.
No, then. Mr. Njord, is that how I'm pronouncing your name?
About that, as close as it gets.
Excellent. Now then. So, fascinating. Sheriff, please come and stand by me, won't you?
Would be my pleasure. And Francis stands by the prince. Is the prince
Seneschal is
standing?
kind of
Or...
weaving his way through people, by the way. So he's kind of doing what I call social sharking, which is just weaving his way in and out through people.
Yeah, is the prince sitting down?
Yeah, he's sitting down.
Yeah, I'll just stand by him then.
The chair is quite comfortable looking. But he'll say, my. So, I'm curious. Tell me your story, Mr. Njord. Why is it that you're here, and Whom was the poor unfortunate life that you deigned to end in such a way as to drink their soul?
As to answer your first question, he's going to produce the letter he also provided for the solicitor, which explains that he's here because the house that they were at is one that he's inherited as a dead branch of his family.
The sheriff makes a flick motion with his wrist, and I'm going to assume Francis is going to ferry the letter.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Cool. He reads it thoroughly before he takes the letter. He doesn't give it back. He puts it on the armrest of his chair. Continue. So you've come here to claim property.
And to settle as a way of making a new beginning for myself after all that I've been put through.
So, fascinating. And as to my second question,
The one who turned me.
you ate your own sire. There's kind of a ruffle. You could almost hear the fans click.
It's very Toreador.
It's easy for everyone to see now, but Alexander does not seem to be very impressed by this, which is kind of weird because it is something very impressive.
Do you care so little for your bloodline and your lineage that you would think to raise hand against your own father? We have already seen in this domain what happens when it is that those whom are sired by the blood care so little about the blood that they are given, he says as he looks at Monique. Hi.
Monique looks on the floor. In
Sorry.
shame.
Francis just,
Shame.
like, whistling away. He's not.
So, what were the mitigating circumstances? As I'm sure there were mitigating circumstances.
Let me explain this as briefly as possible. I was made into this, as it is explained, as a kindred, pretty much against my will. To which I then decided that I would show my, as you call him, father, how I believed he was wrong. Of course, that went horribly wrong.
Was it your intention to diablerize your father?
At the beginning, no. However, later, I did not know how else to respond to the situation.
Fascinating. And this was in your homeland, yes?
This was before coming here, yes. I only
Where
arrived
is it
at night.
Where is it that you were made, born again, brought into the night, however it is you want to phrase it?
Denmark.
Where in Denmark?
Copenhagen. Or well, rather outskirts of.
Give me like 2 seconds, I have to look up something. I'm gonna Google who the fucking Camarilla, because I think Copenhagen's a Camarilla city. I'm gonna see who the Prince of Copenhagen is. Come on, a Viking. If it's not a Viking, I'm gonna be really salty. Let me see here. Lists of permit. Oh, here it is. Sorry, for some reason my phone is just going absolutely batshit, so I'm going to mute it. Africa, Baghdad, Turkey, Australia. Here we go, Europe. Okay, so we've got. Nope, 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 nope. Haha! We actually do have canonical. We do actually have oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
He ruffles his nose in distaste, and he will say, "Ah, yes, but I should expect nothing else from a domain with a Tremere prince."
Lols.
This amuses me.
Shots fired.
Good. Tremere deserved it.
Fuck you, Francis.
They killed the cinnamon bun salubri. What do you want from me, woman?
You killed the best cinnamon
I
buns.
said
You killed all the
Francis.
cinnamon buns. You ate all the cinnamon buns. That's the fucking worst. You didn't even save any for me.
But once again, ironic. Okay, what can we expect? You are new to our world, or from your speaking, it is clear to see, and your actions, it is clearer yet to see. You have not been taught the correct way, the correct style, the correct etiquette. So I ask my subjects, should I be merciful? Should I show compassion? Does anyone here wish to speak to this man?
Okay, Rothschild will step forward. At one step. And if the prince looks at him and gives him permission to speak, he will speak.
He does. He kind of gives you a flutter of his wrist, like, go on.
My prince, I believe you should show wisdom.
Oh.
Currently, my prince, we are at a troubled time. Although victory we have tasted victory, we are not yet done. If this one could actually be taught rhyme from reason and married his ways, then why not teach him and give him the knowledge and wisdom he needs to make a proper kindred?
Why not? Indeed. Sebastian Nord, what is your profession?
I am. Let me just pull it up real quick. I am a scientist of the technological age and wonders. More precisely, I have done a degree in computer technology with a side of product development.
Very well. You may be of use to me. Very well. You may live. I give you into the keeping of Mr. Alexander Rothschild until such point as he shall release you. I have no doubt that these fine kindred whom brought you to me will be more than delighted to explain what that means. But until then, you're welcome in my domain. You are welcome within the boundaries, and I will even forgive you the sin that you have committed against your own sire, for I am magnanimous. Now then, please do enjoy the party. I have no doubt that it is a welcomed relief for some of you. He flicks his wrist and he goes, he flicks his wrist and he stops looking at you. He basically, he's going to have a brief conversation with the sheriff.
Right.
Okay.
Rothschild will take one step back and place his hand on the shoulder of Sebastian and kind of helps him up so he can rise again. And well, I guess it's the wisest way to just get Sebastian and himself out of this room as soon as possible, out of sight of the prince at least.
That will be as it touches Sebastian's shoulder, just a slight shudder, and that's about that before he gets up.
Sebastian only briefly touches him, not actually gripping. Sebastian doesn't like touching people very much.
Oh yeah, Alexander.
Sorry, Alexander doesn't like.
Yeah, but it's
touching
just as he touches, he will notice it.
All
Although
right.
it's obviously not directed at him. It
No,
should
no.
also be pretty obvious to other people that Sebastian is not aware of what age he actually or what what's it called again? He's not aware of his generation
Right.
or the power that comes with it.
Well, like I said, Alexander will take Sebastian, or at least show Sebastian the way out of the presence, look, and maybe even sense of the prince as soon as possible.
Yep.
Want to make sure that we don't fuck things up even more, so to speak.
Yeah.
All right. Before the prince will look up, but he looks at Francis and he says, "Keep an eye on that one. Once they've tasted kindred blood, it oftentimes gets more complicated."
Yes, it certainly wouldn't be the first instance. Be sure to that they do not stray any further from the correct path.
I'm led to understand that we owe you a great debt.
Oh?
You are quite the hero after all of the taking of the train station in Waterford.
Oh, why, I'm humbled. Although, and Francis looks, how to say, he looks a bit thoughtful or something. There was very little actual fighting. In fact, it was an indentured servant of the bishop that actually enabled our victory. Above all else. A child of Salwat.
You see his eyebrow go up. My. That is not a name I've heard in a very long time. You're sure about that?
I couldn't be more certain. He had a explosive implanted into him. And we ended up convincing him to stand down, and in that moment he decided to end his own life rather than remain a servant to the Sabbat, destroying the two Vosges who accompanied him in the process.
So he died honorably then?
Very.
I feel like that needs to be remembered. Do you not agree?
As a soldier myself, I try to make a point of such things.
Good. I shall have it noted. I feel like the young are far too easily forget these things. Never mind. Ultimately, we still have to make our push into the rest of the city proper, and I have no doubt this should be where the true challenge arises. I've already had Stalheim try to tell me about something to do with the land and wizardry, but I try not to listen whenever Stalheim talks, you understand?
I can empathize with that statement, Francis says with a degree of weariness.
Quite. As we're going to flick back to the rest of the group. Hi, rest of the group.
I just wanted to play the piano.
I think I just lost some of my dislike for the prince.
Yeah, me too.
If it helps, there is a piano in this room.
Wait, Catchy, you think
Yeah,
you're losing your
like
dislike of a guy who hates your clan and is going to note the honorable passing of your clan's sworn enemy?
He also dislikes Stalheim.
yeah.
I mean, we all do.
No, I don't.
Yet he made a mockery of the Trevere region of Copenhagen.
The Trevere Prince of Copenhagen.
Trevere Prince of Copenhagen.
She has no love for her clan. Who are we kidding?
I choose to point out the main reason that Stalheim was going to be so lenient on you was because you came from a city that was run by the Tremere. They're all Diabolarists. What the fuck do I was? Well, I shouldn't expect much from the boy. I should teach the boy.
Isn't that what I suggested? Wait.
But I mean, if you wish, Christina, you can play the piano here if you want.
Yeah, like that let me, and it's a party. I don't think I would want to ruin the mood.
Technically, you could upgrade the mood. Anyway,
No, because I wouldn't play anything happy at this state.
well,
It's a party organized by Bedru. It's not going to be happy anyways.
The party has just been abrupted by me, so you can probably lift it up easily.
all right. So I'm going to roll. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm going to say it. I'm going. Oh my god, fuck my life. So Alexander will walk his way up to Monique, and he will lean in very close to her ear, and he will say, "My apologies. We never got to go to my house to show you the piano. However, there's a piano here. Now, if you want to make a better impression, which you clearly need, I suggest maybe asking our lovely Tremere Primogen and Ambrose over there to maybe start a dance and something classical that you know from the heart that would brighten some moods, give you some positive attention, which you could really use, and well, brighten people's mood somewhat."
I would not be against that, certainly, but shouldn't I ask for permission for that kind of thing?
I believe that it's always more easy in these kind of ways to apologize than ask for permission.
It's
I
better to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission.
I
Exactly.
actually like that way of thinking. Now, out of
Well,
character ideas of what I would play.
well, technically, if you want to go really classical and gloomy to go with the scene, I must say, Gloomy Sunday, very nice.
Gloomy Sunday.
Oh yeah.
Roll the dice. Basically, roll your dexterity plus your performance piano plus your dots of celerity. See what you get, and then we'll determine what you play.
Okay. So,
Mine is a joke somewhat, but I'll
Yeah.
send it.
You're probably
okay.
thinking of Sunday Bloody Sunday.
Dexterity
This one.
Nope.
and performance.
Dexterity, performance, piano,
And
plus your celerity.
Yeah.
It is going to be standard difficulty.
6.
Oh,
Okay. Oh wait. 5 successes.
Uh, all right. Okay. Monique starts to play. Actually, Francis, Monique starts to play midway through your conversation with the prince, who, when she starts to play, puts up a finger to silence you. Like, he'll silence you mid-sentence,
Okay.
and he starts to listen. Everyone in the room starts to listen. The room somewhat falls silent as they listen. I'm going to sneeze.
Oh, bless
Bless
you,
you.
child.
Blessed be.
And until it becomes clear that everyone in the room is listening to Monique play. Now, she will play for about 10 minutes or so. Let's say you play something by Chopin. I was like Chopin.
Okay.
So,
It's overrated.
shut up. When the music is over, nothing happens. Everyone just stands there incredibly quiet as all of the eyes go to look towards the prince. The prince sits there for a very long count of 15 before he raises his hands and claps once, at which point the room will politely clap your efforts.
Indeed.
Okay. I'm not even sure if that's good or bad.
It's not negative, otherwise you'll be called up and maybe decapitated. It's Wednesday, you know. So
I mean, the man's not wrong. It's Sunday night comedy hour, so
Yeah. Well, I guess then I will get off the piano and go back to Mr. Rothschild. And I'm gonna whisper to him, well, I hope they enjoyed it.
the room was silent. The only way you can test if a song is truly good is if nobody dares to talk through the song because it's too beautiful and everybody just wants to listen.
I hope you're right.
So do I.
From up on the dais, obviously, where the prince will continue talking to Francis, and he'll say, "That girl, a shame she is an embarrassment to your bloodline, but she is certainly an excellent pianist."
When was the last time the prince spent a night without insulting anyone?
He's a Ventru. What do you want from life?
Exactly.
this
Well,
is
at
one of the
least
main
he
perks of
noticed
being a
me.
Venturi. You get to just posh all over everybody.
He's not just a Ventru, he's an elder Ventru.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Pedigree, no less.
stick up the ass is, a understatement for him.
Elder Ventru with a pedigree. What do you expect? What do you want, man?
Well, if you want a pat on the back from an elder Ventru, you either are an elder Ventru or very very lucky.
Or Francis.
Or it's a bluff.
Or
And
your
you're about
Francis.
to die. Or you're Francis, yes.
I mean, Francis makes a lot of bluffs. He hasn't been called on any of them so far.
Well, let's be fair. I mean, arguably the two closest clans, really, even though it's a really weird closeness, like the Ventru and the Toreador are both really close because they both aspire to be idealisms of human nobility.
Yep.
Yeah.
But the prince will say, Mr. Delano is still quite distraught at the cruel betrayal of his paramour.
And with that, and I can only agree with his sense of betrayal and grief, and to some extent share in it. But I'm hoping after this war, I'm planning something that may be able to get him back in greater spirits again.
Indeed, I have no doubt of your abilities. Now then, back to business.
Yes.
And at that point, I feel that is a good point to end the scene. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. This has been another scene in Darkness in Dublin where I prove once again, this is the second time I've almost killed someone during their intro. Have a pleasant evening.